another edition of A Dose of Positive. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for the short and sweet segment on reading. Yay! Now I know some of you are probably thinking, Aubrey, it has been my personal mission to never have to pick up a book ever since I graduated from high school or from college. And then there's probably some of you who are avid readers and you quite enjoy it, and maybe some people who are in between who pick up 2 to 3 books a year but know that they should and could be reading more books. This is for all of you. Yay! Now there are 2 quotes that I absolutely love that relate to reading, and number 1 is readers are leaders. Number 2, the difference from where you are today and 5 years from now are the books that you read and the people that you associate with, and there could be no 2 truer statements. Now I'll let you guys know up front that I am not a super passionate reader. I don't thoroughly enjoy it. It's just a habit that I have developed over the past couple of years, and so if you're not necessarily at that end of the spectrum where you are just jumping for joy to read every day, know that it is okay, alright? But in this video, I am going to be sharing with you some of my tips and tricks to get that reading in every single day, because it is a really important habit to develop. Okay, so first and foremost, I want to talk about different sources that I use to get books from, all right? And the first is audiobooks. I absolutely love audiobooks, and especially being in Houston, I can listen to an entire audiobook in the time that it takes me to get to and from work every single day, all right? Huge tip and trick right there. Tip, trick, whatever, right there, okay? So I download the audiobooks to my iPad. Some of them I have on my phone. If you have iPods or any of those other electronic devices, you can use that. And the great thing about audiobooks is that they may be a little bit more expensive than your ebooks or your book books, but you can listen to them again and again and again. So that brings us into our next source, which are ebooks. I actually use the iBook app on my iPad, and I keep all of my books, ebooks on here, as you can see here. I really love it because I can take it with me anytime I travel. I don't have to carry multiple books, and it allows me to jump in between the different books that I'm reading at any given time. The great thing about these apps also is they are definitely getting better and better with their ability to be able to bookmark different pages. You can highlight, you can write notes to yourself, kind of more traditional, trying to get closer to the feel of actually being able to hold a book and make your own kind of notes and comments within it. So I purchased a lot of my books from iTunes. I also just recently downloaded a Kindle app for my iPad so that books that I can't purchase through iTunes, I can get through Amazon Kindle. So that's just another tip and trick for you guys there. In addition, books, so the actual physical books, and I get that reference from the IKEA ad, so if you haven't seen the IKEA ad, it's brilliant. Go check it out. Look up book, okay? You can get books from anywhere, right? You can get it from Amazon, and it doesn't have to be super expensive, guys, because they've got both the actual new version of the book and you've got used versions that you can buy for like literally dollars or cents on the dollar, okay? So take advantage of that. You've got eBay, of course, half-price books. If you have a Barnes & Noble in your area, you can, get there, and even your library, your local library, okay? So there's all sorts of different sources that you can get books from, so don't let that hold you back, okay? Now I'm going to switch into kind of times to read, which is really important, and I think this is the biggest challenge and excuse that we make for ourselves, is that we just don't have time to read. Now, I already mentioned to you guys that I leverage the time that it takes me to get to and from work every day to take some time to listen to some audiobooks. In addition to that, waking up in the morning, I know some people already have the habit of drinking coffee and maybe reading a newspaper. You could always substitute that with getting some morning reading in, right? 10 to 15 minutes is a great goal to set for yourself every single day. Now, if you don't, particularly prefer to read in the morning, you can definitely read at night. I know a lot of people who like to read right before they go to bed. I don't personally like that because I tend to fall asleep before I hit that 10 to 15 marker. Or if you're like Anthony Robbins, he mentioned that reading overstimulates him. He gets too excited, he wants to get out of bed and like seize the day right then and there. So reading before bed is not necessarily the best practice for him, but find what works for you. Now, a tip that one of my good friends leverages is he actually will shut his office door during his lunch hour, and he will read while he eats his lunch. So a great way to multitask, get the reading in. You don't have screaming kids everywhere. You're in an office or wherever you may work, and it's kind of some peace and quiet time for you since you're going to be eating lunch anyway. And that 30 minutes to an hour, you can get a lot of reading in. So that's a great tip and trick right there. Now, ways to stay accountable with your reading. A book club is a great way to do that. A lot of the books that I have read in the past couple of years are actually a result of a standing order program that I was a part of, a book club that I was a part of. I get a book a month and a CD a week, and it has impacted my life dramatically. So I highly recommend that you guys try and find a local book club in your area, or as I mentioned in previous videos, A Dose of Positive does have a book of the month every single month, so you guys can follow along with our community, share your thoughts, your insights, your perspectives, how the books have impacted you, and read others' comments on the exact same book as well. So I highly recommend that you guys do that and start building that accountability between us and yourself to get your reading in and to stay motivated. Now, I am going to include in the description below a link to all 12 of the books and the audiobooks that I'm going to be reading and listening to this year. So if you find any of them helpful, great. And as always, I'd love to see any comments that you guys have below of any tips and tricks that you use to get your reading in, suggestions for other people, or even books that you really enjoyed reading. It can be fiction, nonfiction, personal, professional development, whatever you like. Any suggestions that you have, I'd love to hear them. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week.